Okay, so what we have here today is we're going to make our first ever GUI. That stands for Graphical User Interface inside this class. So that's like the normal pop-up boxes that you see. So what I did was I actually made, inside my games folder, I made a program called GUI1. I'm going to start off with the public static void main string args. And inside here, we're going to do two things. There's actually going to be two things inside this main method. The first one, we're going to do name of the class, GUI1. So that means we're going to make an object of this class, and usually you make it lowercase, whatever the name of the class is. So in this case, it's GUI1 equals new GUI1. That's it. So you just made an object of this class, and what that means, it goes to the constructor, which we're going to have to build in a second. Now this GUI is going to be on the screen, so we want to see it. So we set it visible to true. So now it's underlined red because up here at public class, we have to extend a class. Extend JFrame. This is part of inheritance, something we did not cover this year. So just trust me, it works. We're extending, we're allowed to use all the features of the JFrame class. Now the JFrame class gives us things to put up on the screen. So now how do we actually build what goes on the screen? It's right here. It's inside the constructor. Remember, the constructor is just the name of the class you're in, and that's it. So immediately, as you made line number 7 works, it immediately comes down here and builds class. And there's a few things you'll always put, like super. This sends the title up to the JFrame class, and it just sets the title of the GUI. So right now, my first graphical user interface. Okay, and then we'll do set size. Let's set it to 800 by 800. Then we set the layout. How do you want things to show up on the screen? And right now I'll show you the most basic layout. It's called flow layout. What this does is this puts things on the screen from left to right. Whatever I say go on the screen, it puts it on starting at the top left, works its way to the right. If it gets all the way to the right, then it comes on down. There's another line, and I always forget this line. That's why you may see it right down here at the bottom, greened out. That's not part of it, but I always forget this one. The close operation, JFrame exit on close. This allows us to use the X on the button and close it out. Okay, so I'll get rid of this so no one's confused, especially me. And then what we have after that, now we could start putting things on the screen, some of the normal things. The first thing that you normally could see on a screen is called a J label. This is just something that goes on the screen. You can't click on it, you just see it. Usually it's words. So I'll make the first one name label. So we're making an object of the J label class. And now the J stands for Java, and we'll say new J label. And then what do you want to be on the screen? Whatever you want to appear on the screen goes inside the parentheses, inside the quotation marks. So right here, if I said, my name is William, that will appear on the screen, and you'll see it in a second. Now hover over here, we need to import the J label, part of the swing class. And the way you put it on the screen is pretty easy. Add name label. And convention is just I've always stuck with is I tab over when I say add, just so I know these go together. I've done this long enough that I've seen students not do this, and then they forget not to put it on the screen. They forget this add part. And then I will show just another thing, J Textfield, so that you could see the difference. J Textfield is where you could end up typing in it into the graphical user interface if you want. So let's say this is your last name. So the name of the text field is called last name, but what do you want to show up on the screen? J text field. There's two things you need to put in here. You could put in enter last name here, followed by a number and a 10, and that's about 10 spaces. The way I've always stuck with it, it's about 10 capital W's. Text field, did I Let's see, capital F. I mess. Let's see if that's my mistake here. Yeah, there we go. Hopefully. Yeah, import text field. Capital J, capital T, capital F. And now add last name. Okay, so now let me show you your first ever graphical user interface. So you run it, it builds it, and now what you have here is you've built a normal pop-up box that you normally see. You could build like a lockdown browser inside of this. So this part right here, my name is William, that is a label. You can't click on it, can't do anything. It just shows up there. The user, the person can't mess with it. Now this part, enter last name here, this is a text field. You could type and type, right? Chicago Bulls are the best, and it keeps moving, but it stays that 10 W's wide, and then you could erase. Now, usually when you type in something like this, you want to click on a button and save it somewhere. So what you do is you do J button, and then you do a save button. So you give it a name like save button, and you do new J button. Now save button is not what appears on the screen, that's the name of the button. We import it again. Well, what we want to show up on the screen goes right here inside these quotation marks. So you put in here save, and I'll put it all capital letters so that you could see it's what's inside the quotation, and then we do add save button. And then you hit run here, and now you have a non-working GUI. So right here is the label, text field, Steve Kerr. You type that right there. You can hit the save button. Notice it turns blue, but I didn't program it to do anything yet. And this is where the power comes in for you programming. You'll have the power now to start having these buttons do things. And that's going to be the point of this whole quick little 2-week unit that will lead to a little project at the end.